You ever had that one neighbor who just cannot mind their own business? Well, let me tell you about mine. The woman who turned package theft into her own personal sport. And trust me, when I finally decided to get even, she didn't just get caught. She screamed so loud the whole neighborhood heard it. It all started a few months back, right after I moved into this supposedly quiet, HOA-controlled community. You know the type. Manicured lawns, everyone pretending to be polite, but underneath, it's gossip, power trips, and people peeking through blinds. And right at the center of it all was Karen. Her actual name was Diane, but trust me, she had the soul of every Karen you've ever seen. She strutted around like she owned the whole neighborhood, waving HOA rule books around like they were sacred scripture. At first, I didn't notice anything strange. I'd order a few things online. Tools, electronics, random household stuff. And sometimes they just never showed up. The delivery companies swore they'd dropped them off. But when I checked the porch, nothing. I figured maybe porch pirates were roaming the area. But one day, my Ring doorbell camera caught something I wasn't expecting. There she was, Karen herself, creeping up my driveway, glancing over her shoulder, and snatching a brown Amazon box right off my welcome mat. She tucked it under her arm like it was a clutch purse and strutted off, to her house 2 doors down. Bold as anything. I watched that footage over and over again, furious. And I wasn't the only one. A couple of my other neighbors quietly mentioned their packages had been disappearing too, but no one wanted to call her out. She was the HOA president, after all, and the kind of woman who'd fine you if your grass was half an inch too long. Nobody dared to cross her. But me. I wasn't about to let this slide. I printed out screenshots from the video and even considered reporting her. But then, as I stared at her smug little face on that footage, I realized something. Simply reporting her wouldn't feel like justice. I needed her to feel the humiliation she'd been causing us. That's when the idea hit me. It wasn't just about getting my stuff back. It was about giving Karen a taste of her own medicine. And when inspiration struck, I already knew the perfect accomplice to help me deliver the message. Let's just say it was small, scaly, and had a way of making people scream like they'd seen a ghost. Once the plan was in motion, I felt a wicked mix of nerves and excitement. I knew if I played this right, Karen would never dare touch my porch again. So, I set it up like this. I ordered a couple of cheap little things. Online, nothing important, just to bait her in. But instead of leaving the box empty, I lined it carefully, cut some air holes, and slipped inside my secret weapon. Now, before you think I went full villain, don't worry. It wasn't a venomous snake. It was a harmless corn snake, borrowed from a buddy of mine who kept reptiles. This little guy wasn't dangerous at all, but he looked terrifying if you weren't used to seeing snakes. Perfect for someone like Karen, who jumped at her own shadow. I set the box down on my porch, angled perfectly for my doorbell camera, and waited. It didn't take long. Like clockwork, Karen appeared, her oversized sunglasses on, strutting up my driveway like she was queen of the street. She did her usual quick look around, then bent down and scooped the package up without hesitation. I could hardly contain myself as I watched the live feed. She tucked the box under her arm and marched back to her place. And then, the magic happened. Not even 2 minutes later, the quiet afternoon exploded into a scream so blood-curdling, I swear the birds flew off the trees. Karen came bolting out of her front door, flailing her arms, the box tumbling to the ground as she shrieked like she was being chased by a demon. And right behind her, slithering slowly onto the porch, was the snake. She was hopping in circles, pointing, screaming, "Snake! There's a snake!" at the top of her lungs, loud enough for half the neighborhood to hear. People came out of their houses, confused, watching as their almighty HOA president completely lost her composure. And me? I was standing behind my blinds, biting my lip to keep from laughing too hard. One of my neighbors, Mr. Jenkins, walked up and calmly picked up the snake. He actually recognized it as harmless. He just chuckled and said, "Karen, it's just a corn snake. It won't hurt you." But the damage was already done. Everyone had seen her freak out. and the whispers started immediately. The HOA queen who lectured everyone else about order and decorum had just been caught, red-handed and red-faced. From that day on, my packages stopped disappearing. In fact, Karen couldn't even look me in the eye when she passed by. Justice had been served, not with the law, but with one harmless snake and a plan too perfect to fail. If you enjoyed this crazy HOA Karen story, make sure to hit that like button. Drop a comment with your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe for more wild neighborhood drama stories just like this one. Your support helps me bring even more insane tales to life.